Hi, this is Christopher Spera, and this is the iTechGear Weekly, episode number 89, STFU TWSS. Recorded live Monday, May 13th, 2024, live from iTechGear Central. As I said, I'm Christopher Spera, the editor-in-chief over at iTechGear.org, and joining us today, the dulcet tones are back, kids. Revel in the dulcet tones. Mr. Chris Gavula, how are you, sir?
Oh, we're doing, we're on a weeknight for once instead of a weekend. So
Very true.
we're a little out because it's the end of the workday, a long work days, but glad we're here. Glad we're able to do this and glad we got a lot to talk about here tonight. So here we go.
Absolutely. Former contributing editor over at Gear Diary and Pocket Now, and of course, editor over here at iTechGear.org. So lots of good stuff. Hopefully, at least maybe not as much delirium as. Well, there's going to be delirium.
It's us. There's always delirium.
And there we go. And there he is, the former co-owner of WUGNET Publications, of course, the one, the only, the man, the myth, the legend, Dr. Mr. Larry McJunkin. How are you, sir?
I hate those kind of previews. Anyway.
Larry, we need some more honorifics to tack in front of you.
I tell you, I'm down here in Knoxville, and I'm getting excited, boys and girls. I mean, the new iPads go on sale this Wednesday.
Yes, they do.
And I'm like a 15-year-old waiting on his driver's license. Woo-hoo! I mean, normally this wouldn't be a big deal, but this
Larry's
is truly the biggest iPad refresh ever. Not that any of them have been super big, but
no,
I can't wait to start a use case experiment with mine. And if it works out, I'll tell you all about it over on iTechGear.org. If it doesn't work out, well,
you'll tell us all about it over at iTechGear.org.
Back to you, Chris. Refer to line 1.
And of course, last but never, ever least, the former contributing writer over Gear Diary and currently the host of the Linux Link Tech Show and Living in the Retro Arcade podcast, Brother Joel McLaughlin. How are you, sir?
I'm doing well. Just kind of preparing for ham radio's largest gathering, the Dayton Hamvention, coming this weekend. So I'm excited.
Awesome. And a larger gathering of hams you have never seen before, kids. So there you go.
Well, okay. I don't know if it's the largest in the world, but I think it is.
Yeah,
it's the largest that I've ever been to. Yeah.
There you go. There you go. Of course, also Brother McLaughlin, also editor over here at iTechGear.org. And I'll tell you, one of the things that everybody's going to be editing hopefully soon is stories about the Apple iPad event held on Tuesday the 7th.
We're certainly seeing a lot out there about it already.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
This was a really, really good. And I think the biggest non-surprise, right? Because I think it was out there enough before everybody heard it, was the fact that Apple introduced the iPad Pro with the M4 as opposed to the M3.
Yeah, we'll talk about that in a minute. But
it didn't really surprise anyone because it was so leaked. But other than
I did tell y'all,
you did, you did,
yeah, you did,
you and everybody else.
Yep.
I didn't believe you, but I was wrong, and I'm glad to say that. So I mean,
yeah,
we'll
talk about the whys.
So there were some interesting things that happened and came out of this event. I just want to hit the highlights, and then we can go ahead and get into the nitty gritties. There's a new iPad Air. It's got an M2 chip. Right. And of course, as I mentioned, we've got the iPad Pro with the M4. Right. And then tandem OLED displays.
Yeah. Tandem OLED displays. That can't have been cheap to add.
No. No. Right. And then
but it gives you a lot of brightness that's missing from OLED. So
and then an Apple Pencil Pro. Right. So now you can squeeze. Like Mr.
Geez.
You can start squeezing your pencils.
Mr. Whipple.
Mr. Whipple, yes, thank you.
My goodness.
Hey.
You're gonna do a throwback at least,
Do it right. No, I get you. It's a good criticism. I get you. But everybody knew what I was talking about.
But anyway, but the iPad Airs now 2 sizes, an 11 and a 13.
Yep.
And the Pros, 2 sizes, an 11 and a 13.
Mm-hmm.
And if you buy the 2 higher memory configurations on the Pro, you get a better processor.
You do.
And more RAM.
Right. And more RAM. All right. You're also going to go ahead. Now, there is a new Magic Keyboard that's available for the
There
iPad.
is. Looking very nice with its aluminum top.
Yes, so there's a nice
really,
metal
really
top
pretty.
or glass top, isn't it? The glass top. I thought you said it was made of glass.
No. The top is aluminum.
The trackpad.
The outer
Track
shell.
pad.
The outer shell is made of aluminum.
No.
Just the top part of it.
No, yeah, just the keyboard facing part, the ring around that's aluminum.
Okay.
The trackpad is glass.
Right.
The outer casing is the same as on the current.
The back piece of the keyboard.
Yeah, the back and the front of the keyboard is still the same as it's been.
Yes, unfortunately, what you're hearing and seeing is my lack of details on this is largely because of the brand new job. So, I honestly have not been. I've been focused there and not necessarily here. But that's neither here nor there. All right. So. Yep. But new Magic Keyboard, it's got the aluminum top, and then it's also got a glass covering over the trackpad. So, and it is specific
and
only
important
to the layest iPad Pro. You cannot.
Yes, that's the one that's. I'm sorry. I'm going to say that's the thing the one I probably understand at least on why it's only for that particular model. Which seems like that seems to be what they're going with a lot of their accessories. Very un-Apple-like in some ways,
well, you know what I think that is, guys. Honestly, I think Apple out there, they are master marketeers. Number one, they got the iPad Air with the M2, which is truly 95% of you guys out there. That's all you'll ever need. But Apple knows how to make us reach a little deeper into our wallets because the M4 will draw some people in. The new keyboard will draw some people in. This next little thing they always got one or two hooks for the next bigger, more expensive thing. Always. They do so good at that.
Yep.
I mean, seriously.
Only because people get sucked into it, though.
I'm sucked. I'm in.
Yeah. Well, I know. Yeah, like the new Pencil Pro. I love my pencil. I would say I don't use it near as much as I thought I would. But the Pencil Pro, really great thing for artists that use their iPads for creation because it does the rotation thing is probably for me bigger than the squeeze thing because you can rotate your brush as you're painting in Procreate. Right. So I mean it's a neat thing, and they at least kept that one reasonable price wise at $129. The Magic Keyboard's staying and it's $299. So
for the 11-inch,
the 12-inch,
the old one that they still sell still is
right?
Yeah. I was gonna say the old one that they still sell.
It's not cheap.
Still expensive. It's the same price.
Yes, it is. Unfortunately,
I mean, at least for the moment, So
right.
But it's that's the frustrating thing for me because I essentially have what is an iPad Air with a better screen with the iPad Pro with the M2 chip.
You know what I read a lot of folks writing about out there, literally probably 5 or 6 pundits were whining, and I would agree here that why didn't they keep some lower level keyboard like the keyboard folio? It's really nice. If you don't type a lot, you want a cover to go with your keyboard. It's not cumbersome. You can flip it over, hold it in your lap without holding the keyboard weighs more than the iPad. It's just, I don't know. A lot of whining going on about that.
Apple, unfortunately, at least I think, is all about the accessories for the current version of.
I agree with you.
That's always try to go into the store and buy a case for your previous model phone. When it busts.
You really can't unless they're selling that iPhone in the store. You can't. All right.
No, they want you to buy a new phone to go with the case you want.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's the only thing that I'm really kind of upset about with Apple is they're all about the current version. All right. But honestly, they could have gotten an extra $349 out of me if the new Magic Keyboard worked with the M1 iPad Pro. Okay.
Yeah.
But the physical specs change. So what are you going to do?
Yep.
Honestly, they did when they introduced the the M1 iPad Pro. But interestingly enough, the older keyboard still worked.
Well, the 2018 and the 2020,
that's what I've got is the older keyboard for that generation.
But the 2018 and 2020 were the same physical specs, basically, are really close.
Yeah,
this is not the case this time. However, the old case does work with the iPad Airs, is my understanding. The old Magic Keyboard will work with the iPad Airs, is my understanding.
Interesting.
Now, I don't know if that's true, but that's what I've been reading.
Well, interesting though.
Take it for what it's worth.
Sure. So there were some things that, Apple introduced. There's also a few things that they took away.
They did.
So they did take away a few different things. There were basically 4 things that they killed. The home button. So none of the current newer iPads that were introduced have now a home button now. It is forever gone. So Touch ID, not so much. Adios Touch ID.
Right.
All right.
No, that's not true. Let me correct you there.
No, Touch ID is when we move to the power button, dude.
And it's in the iPad Mini. It's still in the iPad Mini.
There's no home button. There's no home button.
There's no home button.
There's no home button, and Touch ID lived in the home button. So if it's now on the power switch, fabulous.
It's on the Mac, on the iPad Mini. It is.
Okay, good.
It is on the
Air
current
too.
version
on the Air.
of the iPad Air too. Same
Excellent.
time.
Yep.
Yeah,
Excellent.
correct.
All right, so
correct.
no stickers. Stickers are gone.
Stickers are gone.
Stickers are gone.
Damn it! I'm not gonna buy one now. No, I'm
There you
kidding.
go. Take that.
Somebody
Tim
had to
Cook.
say it. Somebody
Take
had
that,
to say
Apple.
it.
No stickers. No iPad sale. Done.
Well, the whole idea with no stickers is they're the kids plastic. But yeah, then I think.
Well,
isn't it still shrink wrapped in plastic?
I don't know. But think back to the old days.
No, they don't shrink wrap anything anymore. Nothing. They have those new 2 double tears on either side.
That's right. It's got the little cardboard tabs. Yep.
Little cardboard can't be. You can't miss it if it's been opened.
Right. So apparently, the 9th generation iPad is now gone. So you've got an Air, and you've got an iPad Pro,
and a 10,
and a 10,
right,
and a Mini,
and a Mini. So, but they say the rest of the lineup will probably be refreshed later this year, maybe. That's what I'm hearing. You might hear, they may trickle those out. So, the whole lineup will probably be refreshed within the next 6 to 12 months.
Right. The Lightning connector is now gone.
Except for iPhone.
No, this is iPad.
The old iPhones.
He's just talking about iPads right now.
iPad. Right? The Lightning connector is gone. It's all USB-C now.
It is.
All right. It's all USB-C. So all new devices, no more Lightning connector. It's all USB-C. Right. So
beautiful.
Well, that now
I like that
complies
personally.
with the European requirements that there be one universal connector. All right, there's one connector to rule them all, and that's it. So,
well, so we still have, as Joel just mentioned, we do still have it in some iPhones, and we still have it in the iPad Air Max. It's still in there, but those things are
they're on limited.
They're on the short list.
So, yeah,
right. They're going to be. They'll be done soon enough.
Right. And so so the USB-C connector that you've got.
And the Magic Mouse.
10th generation iPad. It's on the 13-inch M2 iPad Air. It's also on the iPad Pro 13-inch, but that one also doubles as a Thunderbolt 4 connection as well. So if you've got Thunderbolt accessories like a dock or something that you want to use with your latest iPad Pro 13-inch, they should work. Hopefully.
As they will.
So anyway, so the Lightning connector dates back to 2012, and it's been around for 10, 12 years, right? And that's really been the.
I'll tell you what, for port technology, that's a long time, guys.
I was going to say, well, it's really been the longest that any individual port connector has been around for Apple. The other two, the two variations on the 30 pin port connector that they had. The one where they sort of had it facing one way, and then they made you turn it backwards, turn it around for the next one, and then it was a little bit different besides that. But
I think had USB-C not evolved, I think we'd still have
the lightning connector, right? But both of those 30-pin connectors lasted about 10 years each, I thought, or about 10 years, and then this one lasted about 12, right? So
we're there.
Yeah, we're there. It was about time. All right. So 10 years worth of accessories that worked, and now you're SOL. All right. So STFU, SOL.
So I think the last big thing we probably want to hit on is the fact that they didn't release them with the M3 chip this time. They went right to M4.
Yeah.
Right.
There's a lot written about that out there.
There has been. So
I think most of it's just trouble in 3 nanometer land. Personally, that's it.
My gut feel is that what they did was, from the basic things I've been reading, is that they wanted they wanted a 3 nanometer chip to come out in 2023, and the only way they were able to do that was basically to work with TSMC and rush it. And so what we got was effectively the M3, and it was kind of, I'm going to hate myself for saying this. It's kind of half baked, as it were.
Well, it kind of twitchy, right?
So it had some compromises. It really wasn't that much faster.
Inefficiencies, had a lot of yield issues where they had to move a lot of chips from whatever 12 to 11 core or 10 to 9.
And it wasn't. It was only a little faster than the M2s because, again, they were using. My understanding is they were probably using a lot of the M2 architecture against the M3 kind of chip. The M3, excuse me, the TSMC mode. They were using so basically you were making it fit, for lack of a better description. And I think there were I think there were a lot of compromises made with the M3, for good or bad. And I know that's going to anger some people who have M3 based devices that they bought.
Hello, that would be me. Thank you very much.
There's going to be a lot of folks.
I'm looking for an unsuspecting buyer right now.
But it's still better than the M2.
Not that bad.
I
was going to say it's not that bad. I mean, it's it's like the M3 was.
It's not like it doesn't work.
What they right.
It was kind of like they seem to just forget or screw up on. I'm going to say it, screw up on the M3. I mean, that's the thing, but what's
TSMC is the one that screwed up, because TSMC has been behind schedule. That was the problem they ran into. And this compromise was to get around that, because they needed a 3 nanometer chip in 2023. I get the problem, so they did the best they could with what they had. And I think they did a pretty good job, all things considered, but guess what?
I wonder when it comes time when they release the M4s and the MacBook and the Mac line, I wonder what they'll do to the trade-in value of the M3. Will they?
That's a very good question.
And I bet you they're not going to wait that long, because WWDC is coming up.
Yep, I think you're right too.
Would not surprise me at all to see them
if there were
release
Macs
M4s.
at WWDC. It would be interesting if there were Macs at WWDC. It would be the first time that there were Macs at WWDC in quite a long time.
Or hardware,
but they will often, what they did say, and they indicated it in this presentation, that you're going to hear a lot more about kind of their roadmap at WWDC. So that implies we're talking about hardware and software, because it really is kind of inextricably tied together. And as we get closer to WWDC, we'll talk about things like, where are they going with AI and things like that. And that's also a reason why the M4s needed to be there to be ready to go. So I think we're going to get more
juice for the AI.
So I think we're going to hear about all of that, where the M4s are going, what M4 chips will be released. It may not talk about which Macs are coming out, although I would think you're going to see the desktop ones first, because they're the oldest right now.
I wish I had a crystal ball that would tell me where the Mac Studio is going to be in 2 years or 3.
Yeah, fair enough.
Maybe nowhere. Yeah.
Hard to say. But the point they're getting at is that there's going to be machines coming out later this year. I'm sure there will be. It's just a matter of which ones, and will it be a high key, low key event? What's it going to look like? I don't know.
Your point of
we'll hear about the chips anyway.
A chip roadmap, I think, is going to be key, because how much more are they going to be able to do? They're at 3 nanometers now. They're at 3 nanometers now. They go to 2 nanometers or sub 3. All right.
Yeah.
It's going to be quite a move because
going to 3 was quite a move. So yeah, you're right.
So I mean, but you're getting down to a point where even at microscopic levels, kids, I mean, you're really talking about a level of distance between circuit lines that are nearly imperceptible. All right. And what kind of signal problems are you going to bump into at
but
2
but before
nanometers,
before you even get there, when I talk about roadmap, they need to talk about an M4 Pro, an M4 Ultra, an M4 Max,
well, an M4 Pro, an M4 Ultra,
and those are just stacked on. Those are what those are.
They are.
I need to
Those are
talk about
just
those.
bigger
So
chips
we need to get there first.
currently
Yeah,
working.
we need to get there
I get
first.
That. I get
So
that.
I think that's what you're going to hear about, not about, gee, where do we go after the M4s? I think it's more about.
Wouldn't it be interesting though if they sort of gave you a larger picture? Because
I don't know if they're ready.
How much more are they going to be able to reduce these things? Is my point.
Hard to say.
Very difficult to say because I'm
Right.
not a chip engineer, right?
Right now it's almost unfathomable. If you look at the M4, 38 trillion operations per second, trillion with a T.
But yeah, exactly. But if you had said 5 or 10 years ago, if I had said even 5 or 6 years ago, yeah, we're going to be at 3 nanometers soon, they would have said, yeah, sure. Because there was the thinking that we couldn't get that far. We couldn't get things down that far.
Right,
and the technologies get better, the skill sets get better, the tools get better. What we think they can't do today, who knows what that looks like tomorrow.
But they may be able to do it tomorrow.
Exactly. That's what I'm getting at. So I don't know. I'm not willing to predict where they're going to go with this because Moore's law went out the window a few years ago.
More than a few years ago. But I guess the point that I'm getting to, honestly, I would love to see Apple stick with an M4 for longer than 12 months.
Really?
I would love them to seriously. Not because the M1 Max that I'm sitting on is long in the tooth. By far, it is not.
It doesn't feel that way. I've got an M1 and it feels fine.
All right, I've got an M1 Max with 64 gigabytes of RAM, and it is still smoking. All right, it's still looking at me, going, "Dude, throw something at me that I can really handle. Give me something that I can really handle." All right. And
I think what you're going to see, if I had to predict, it isn't about getting a faster processor anymore at this point. I think what you're going to see, the trend you're going to see in the coming years is going to be improving the neural processors.
See, this is where I'm
not the core processor.
Right.
That's what's going to be next.
Yes. And this is where I was going. This is exactly where I was going. You're going to see more,
or maybe actually using them because they're not really using them now.
Correct.
In a lot of respects.
But once they start using them, they're going to have to start beefing them up almost immediately. That's going to happen. Those two things always seem to be wrapped together.
See, they can go ahead even at 3 nanometers. There's a lot that they can go ahead and do to a chip.
There is
that will increase the power of the neural engine. All right. They can still, I mean, they may have to make their chips just a tad bigger. All right. Or maybe a tad taller, but that they can go ahead and pack more AI neural based power into their current architecture than they currently have.
But then you're going to start playing games with thermals, and that's one of the things they've been priding themselves on right now. So you got to watch all of that power consumption and thermals. They're not going to want that to creep up too far, but I get it.
I still would really I know that there are a lot of folks out there that are going to be looking at the M4 iPad Pro and potentially the M4 Max that are coming down, whatever form those may take, and say, you know what? Do me a favor. Give me more than 12 months of life to the current generation chipset.
Yeah, that would make sense.
But then they lose revenue. Come on, they're not going to.
They're not going to lose. They aren't going to lose revenue.
Well, they ain't going to lose no revenue.
They will still make a great deal of money, especially if they actually go to a foldable phone. Now, there is interestingly enough, there was a deal that was inked between Apple and Samsung, I believe just last week, or at least an announcement of a deal where the two of them agreed to a contract for foldable screens.
It's still reported. It's not confirmed by anybody yet.
I understand
that's happened. So, but yeah, you're right. They're talking about foldable screens and potentially.
So
yeah,
you know, I don't know if that means that there's going to be an iPhone Fold, or if there's going to be an iPhone Flip, if you will. All right, two different ways to fold the device, right? Long ways for the fold and short ways for the flip, right? But man, it would be, I would go bananas over an iPhone Flip. Now, why? Because it's smaller and it's got that whole Motorola StarTech sort of feel to the actual hardware. I can put that thing in a nice clip little case on my belt, and I could carry it around and not have to worry about bend gate or sticking it in a pocket, because I could fold the freaking thing in half, and it's going to.
I bet you had a swivel BlackBerry case too, didn't you?
Say again, over.
I said,
yeah,
I
no
bet
kidding,
you had
right?
a swivel BlackBerry case too.
He did for his pocket PCs though.
I did. I did.
I guarantee it.
Yep, I did. For the pocket PCs, yes. All right.
Guarantee it.
But there is stuff. I mean, and I know, Chris, you and I have been really big into foldables, right?
We have.
The Samsung Galaxy Flip, the Samsung Galaxy Fold, the OnePlus Open, the Pixel Fold.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
There's a lot that's there in terms of screen and hinge design, and Apple's really kind of interesting in their way of introducing, or quote unquote new features. They wait. All right, until somebody has gone as far as they can take it, and then Apple will come in and come up with something else, or come up with an improvement that
if you just do this one more thing, boom,
right,
and all of a sudden it's the best thing since sliced bread, right?
Absolutely. But
I think Apple's waiting on the other guys to figure out what doesn't work so they can bring out something that does. Two things that stop me from being, or two things that stop people. Two camps for the foldable phone. One is Joel and I don't want to see or feel a crease. Other people don't want it to have a crease after 5 years of use. Well, I'm going to buy a new phone every year, so I don't care. So just give me one that doesn't show me the crease.
Although I have to say, I showed Joel a OnePlus Open, and he was very surprised at the almost lack of anything.
Almost
correct.
It's a lot closer. It's a lot closer than you thought. It's a lot closer than you would think. The technology is there,
then Apple will find it.
Yeah, exactly. That's our thinking. Or
bring it to us, I should say.
Right. And I've said on a number of different occasions that if Apple really wanted to look at, or at least improve upon some foldable screen technology, they should probably start looking at the OnePlus Open. All right.
Yeah.
As a place for them to start, because the foldable technology there is outstanding. All right. Almost.
I bet when we see it, the first version is over 2,000.
You know what? I'm not even sure. If you look at the high end price on a Pro Max right now,
19, isn't it?
Yeah, and you.
Well, I'm at base model. I'm at the base model.
No, I don't know if the base model would go up that high, but when you look, when you look at the base models of everybody else's foldables,
right,
you're above 15 no matter what.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
So the point is, the people who are going to be willing to pay that will just be willing to pay that. It's just, I think there is a pent up demand. Apple has always sold much better than people think at the high end of the market. And if they have a product, it's like anything else that we've talked about this before, Larry. If they have a product that people want, they're going to pay whatever for it if they want the product. And
yes,
right.
It's
kind of like the Vision Pro. I'll give you $2,500 for a foldable that I like. Yep. I won't for a Vision Pro.
But exactly, it's all about what you want. If you want the product, you're going to want to do that. I've paid over $2,000 for my last two or three iPads, And somebody says,
Sure.
why would you do that? Well, it's my number one computing device. It's my go-to device for computing. It's not my only computing device, but it's my number one go-to. To me, that's worth it.
Yeah, and that's where I'm looking at this too, because I'd love to have an M4 iPad, all right. But if I'm spending laptop money, I better be able to get laptop functionality. Now, one thing I heavily do on a weekly basis is edit photos in Lightroom. Right,
Sure.
there is a version of Lightroom in iPad, okay, but I've got to be able to do all the exact same kind of edits that I do in the desktop version. If
Joel,
I can't do that,
but that's on your that's on your software vendor, not on your
correct,
not on Apple.
It is, but he needs it. And Joel, I'm going to send you a link to an article that a YouTube video. I spent the whole weekend looking at potential cases and people who have used their iPad Pro with a studio display and they've thrown their MacBooks away. But there's only a certain number of people who can do this, and one of them was in fact a video photo guy. He says it's absolutely doable. I don't know. I don't do that.
But here's the thing, guys. I think there's a lot of people out there clamoring, saying, "Hey, for an iPad to be a thing, it's got to be running a desktop OS like Mac OS." And I think that's wrong.
That's the problem.
I think
OS
it's completely
is the
wrong.
problem.
I agree with that, but I don't agree with that. It ought to be Mac OS running on this device. I think the problem is Mac OS is a full-featured desktop OS. It is quite frankly, like most desktop OSs. Over time, it's bloated. You need to keep it a lightweight OS, but you need to add the features that people need. We need to tweak
iPad OS.
We need to tweak iPad OS. We do
There
not
you go.
need. We do not need Mac OS.
That's where we need to focus, Arnie. It's not so much that you need the desktop OS, is that you need a more effective, a better iPad OS.
You need it to keep, but it needs to stay a lightweight OS. It needs to be that because of what it is. But the thing I'm getting at, because you need it for power, you need it for mobility, you need it for all those things that a lightweight OS is very good at doing. What I want to see happen, though, is I want to know what happens at WWDC next month, because everybody said, "Oh, look, they released this great iPad, but there's no software." Guys, you got to be patient. This was not a software exposition. That's next month.
Well, that's actually not entirely correct, because they did talk about the brand new version of Final Cut finally coming to the iPad.
They did. They did, but again,
having the ability to take 4K streams and edit them.
But all they did was highlight a couple of things that the app does in each case, in the case of Final Cut. And they did it from a perspective of, this is why you need a new iPad. That was the focus.
It's
a slightly different spin. And I think they didn't focus on that software as a software thing. They focused it on as here's something you can do with the new iPad. Yeah,
and
that's
Procreate,
really the focus.
Right. Things like that,
By the way, did anybody notice their slight slam on Fortnite by pushing PUBG on their presentation?
Yeah.
I'm like, I saw that and I thought, who the heck plays PUBG anymore?
My boys do. Believe it or not.
Okay.
In fact, it's actually making with the kids over in our neighborhood or in our area, it's actually making a bit of a comeback. But that's neither here nor there.
So speaking about
they also did a big plug for GoodNotes. I went out and tried that for about 3 days. Talked to Chris about it, and Chris, it sucks. That's all I can say. It's awful.
It wasn't what isn't what I needed. Yeah,
did nothing for me.
And it's totally a subscription model, which I don't care for anyway.
Yeah.
So there's on many layers, it was not right.
Well,
but having said that,
what the newest version of iOS has
but since we were just talking about companies who have beefs with Apple, usually over payment systems and over app stores.
Yes, our US devs are avoiding those third-party payment options because, according to Apple, there's no money there.
You know what? It's more than avoiding, Chris. As we bring you this show, May 13th, 2024, the number of major app developers who have jumped ship to a third-party app store is, drumroll, 0. Nada, zilch. And there's a lot of good reasons for that. Nope, not one, according to the stats as of this morning. A few of the indie developers are, and I get that, but the big boys, they would, I mean, if I was a
they haven't
developer
gone.
today, and I've been a developer, but I would avoid third-party app stores like the plague.
We've been saying,
Purely.
but we've been saying this all along since these things started being talked about. We've
Yeah,
been
we
saying
have.
that, look, the developers are making a lot of money. Apple takes a much smaller percentage if you're a smaller developer.
But their reach is
But you're getting
huge.
your money. But you're getting your money, and you're getting their reach. That's what you're That's what you're paying for.
Yeah, the 30%.
You have the comfort, the vetting, and the demographic reach of that app store, and that's something that third-party store can't give you.
That's true. But you also
why people go there.
As you guys are dancing around, and I'm just going to come out and I'm going to say it.
Okay.
Right? Those developers that are making less than $1 million a year on their software sales pay 15%, not 30.
Right, 15.
All right. Those that are making more than $1 million a year, all right, they're going to kick in more. They're being taxed more, if you will. All right. So make more money, pay more taxes. All right. Not that I'm getting political. I would never do that on this show.
No, that doesn't happen ever.
ever.
Yeah.
Thank you. But I'm Ching. Yes, I'm going to go stand in the corner now.
Thanks for playing.
But those folks that are making more money, they're paying a bigger percentage because their benefit, they're getting the benefit of the reach. They're really getting the benefit of the
They really are.
They don't care. They're fine with that.
No, they aren't. Obviously, because Epic threw a major fit.
Well, Epic
and the results of that fit.
But why aren't the rest of them jumping ship? Why?
Why
are they staying?
But they didn't abandon either. They're still in the store, or they're not the store. Sorry, my bad. The payment system was still in use, so that was one of the key things. That's kind of interesting with all of this.
Right. The point that I'm making though is that even though they wanted their own store so that they would be able to quote unquote pay themselves or at least pay the credit card processors, and that's it. All right.
Yeah.
And that's what 3 or 4% of the actual transaction, and then
depending on the card. Yeah.
Right. Depending on the card. Right. And then they keep everything else. 3 or 4% is nothing.
And the more you do, the less you pay with that too.
Yeah.
Right.
True.
Right. So long and the short of it here is those third-party systems, they echo in there. All right. Those third-party payment options, nobody's taking advantage of them because they don't have the reach.
As one of you guys just said, the small independents, those are the people who would have been in the jailbreak store, way back when.
Absolutely.
Those are the people that are going to be there. Those are the people that have, I'm going to say questionable apps, and that's really not fair. I understand, but apps that would be not allowed otherwise.
Yes,
I would say apps like, for example,
those are the apps that were banned by Apple, right?
Or apps that have questionable uses. Like, for example, I want to say emulators, because emulators have some questionable uses.
They can,
They can, mostly because where do you get the ROMs? So like, for example, I can see the emulator itself being on the Apple store, but maybe an app helping people get the ROMs be on the other store, or maybe both, but there's still questionable legal issues with abandonware, and I'm talking about true abandonware. I'm not talking about, for example, like Atari, who still has the copyright for all the 2600 games that they made,
Yep.
So I'm talking more like some game developer that just brought out a game that lots of people loved and used back in the day, but they don't exist anymore.
That's exactly.
There's a lot of them.
Yep.
So
and I know it's not always the case, but quite frankly, if an app can't be installed on my Apple devices from the App Store, somewhere in the back of my mind, there's a nefarious reason why, and I don't want it. I just don't. I'm not everybody not like that, but I don't know. There's just got to be a reason.
That's true. Everyone's not like that because I'm not like that. Because
no, I get it. I'm just not saying you're right or I'm right. I'm just saying that's me.
Right.
And I'm not trying to save $1 by buying it on a side load basis.
I will say where emulators are concerned, I am one of those people. I have a lot of my old I'll give you an example. I have my old Nintendo cartridges, the DS cartridges, things like
Right.
that. I wouldn't mind having a device that would copy them and let me run them in an emulator on my phone, so I didn't have to
Right.
carry multiple devices. But I still own the freaking cartridges. You know,
right.
Yep.
And if you
I'm not
actually
trying
have
to.
that cartridge, there should be some way.
There are.
Which is you possessing an actual license.
And I'm the same. I was always the same way. You know, this sounds terrible, but back in the day, when everybody was ripping CDs to put them in digitally, when digital was new, as it were, right?
Mhm.
Right.
I did that, but I still kept my CDs. I didn't turn around and sell them or get rid of them. I still kept them in clubs. I actually kept them because
I still have mine somewhere.
I just wanted them in a different format. That's all. You know, I wanted to be able to use them.
Well, again,
on this device.
You paid the copyright fee, so you should be able to go ahead and
the point I'm getting at,
yourself into
I'm the
a
guy
different
that'll
method.
I'm the guy that will keep the originals, as it were, still hanging around.
Right.
So, you know, so that's
You're the guy that would keep the box that you bought your iPad in because you might resell it.
Do you know I still have most of the boxes of the things I own still?
I
really do.
Every one of mine.
I really do.
So do
I actually started to get rid of some of mine because I can't have the freaking storage space for them.
Well,
I get that too.
And I never give up devices anyway. I'm not the kind that resells them either.
No, you put them on the glass
part.
and you store them in
we have
the
drawers
museum
and
portion of your
bags
office.
or whatever.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I used to keep my Apple bags even. I really did.
Yeah, I
no
hear
more,
you.
though.
I have
In
those
fact,
too.
I probably still have. I think I still have somewhere the original backpack I bought for my G4 PowerBook back in the day, which I had the 12-inch one. So,
so
I think I do. I don't know. I might have gotten rid of it when I moved, which is I got rid of a lot of crap when I moved.
Right.
But you know,
which is probably a good thing. But anyway, I want to go ahead though, and I want to move us to our mobile Linux segment. All right. There's a lot that's coming from Apple, but there's still and a couple of interesting things that I think we need to go ahead and mention in our mobile Linux segment. The first one being there are 68 companies that have all pledged to at least go ahead and be secure by design. But I've titled this story 68 on board, and they're still going to screw up their secure by design.
Yeah.
Well, here I go back to one of my favorite movies, War Games. Yes, it's a work of fiction, but it still has a lot of truth to it.
Well, let's go back to what secure by design is first. Let's summarize that.
Let's talk about that a little bit first, but
folks know what we're talking about.
But then we could talk about, is it even possible?
Yep.
All right. So what is secure by design, Joel?
Well, they're saying they want to see increased use of multi-factor across their products, reduce default passwords across their products. Who has a default password anymore?
You'd be amazed.
In a nutshell, secure by design is a process of developing software where the security elements are built into the product from the get-go,
right? Saving you from yourself.
Yes,
and their pledge is to make a good faith effort to work toward that, not to necessarily succeed at that.
Right.
So to me, this is a document without any teeth whatsoever.
Oh no, they're going to be gumming the heck out of it. It's going to be gumming the heck out of itself. You know.
Hey, what'd you say?
Right. Well, the thing is, like I said, go back to my War Games example. There was a scene where Matthew was talking to those developers and saying that no system is secure, which is true. You can put all sorts of stuff in front of it to make it harder to get through. But over time, for example, as Apple brings out faster M series chips, Intel brings out faster chips, encryption can be broken. Right. So,
right.
You can do all the design work you want to, and a hacker can defeat your product with whatever
faster,
the next
stronger piece of hardware. Right.
Better, faster, everything.
Well, there's a new set of vulnerabilities out there. They just discovered around the way that we use the DHCP service. DHCP is a very fundamental internet protocol that's in use, and it's not something anybody ever really looked at being problematic because of the way it works is mostly local. But guess what? They found a way to vector in
Mm-hmm.
and leverage it in a very nefarious way. So no matter what you think and what you put out there, yes, at some point it is,
Right.
but that doesn't mean you shouldn't make an effort to try to make it as locked down by today's standards as you can. I
Right.
get
Yes.
that. I get
So-
that. And that's the goal, really. But
All
these guys, they're not going to get there. They're not going to
Well,
do anything.
so
on the
so
whole.
let's take just one small step back, right? There are this CISA's Secure by Design pledge contains seven
Right.
um goals that are supposed to be
Right.
measurable.
Joel is mentioning some of those already.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. But just to go ahead and make certain that we get them all right. Increase the use of multi-factor authentication across all products, reduce default
Mhm.
passwords across all products, reduce one or more entire classes of vulnerabilities, increase the installation of security patches by customers, publish a vulnerability disclosure policy or VDP that authorizes testing by members of the public on products, demonstrating the transparency in vulnerability reporting by including accurate common weakness enumeration and common platform enumeration in every CVE record for their products. And finally, make it easier for customers to spot evidence of intrusions affecting their products. All right. So those are the 7 things effectively that these 68 companies are saying that they are going to do their doggonedest to build into their and design into their products from the get-go. All right.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
We'll see
I'm
how
going
it
to
goes.
try and do this, and I'm going to try and do that. There, like Chris said earlier, there's a little bit of smoke blowing going on.
Yeah.
here.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. We've seen these kinds of pledges before. We've seen cooperation pledges. We've seen all kinds
And they
of
may
pledges
be
like this before.
genuine.
And they might be genuine, but the point
Right.
is it's always best effort. And historically, very few of these have actually led to anything productive.
Sure.
So,
Right.
we'll see. We'll see. Again, they may have intent, but I've
Agreed.
rarely seen them actually succeed. So
Agreed.
Same.
And we'll see what happens. But what really sort of makes me sad about this is I truly believe, and I've been involved, Larry, you've been involved in the software development or software publishing industry for decades. All right. I've been involved in the software development industry for decades. And how many times have you seen, the road to hell is paved with good intentions. All right.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Mhm.
There you go.
Absolutely.
And I'm serious. These 7 things got their own individual flagstones in that road. All right.
They do.
Simply because, I mean, there are, I don't know how many different companies say, yes, we're going to try. We're going to try. You're going to try. Yes, we're going to try.
And on that same road, there's a lot of stuff being thrown out of the back of pickup trucks trying to cover up tracks too. So.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's for
Yeah.
sure.
Speaking of which, case in point, right?
Yep.
Well,
Speaking
Well,
of
yeah,
case in
and this
point.
one
Big
hit me. This
security
one hit
breach.
me kind of hard. This one did.
Yeah. There's
Right.
a big security breach recently over at Dell. Right.
Yep.
And
Mhm.
unfortunately, if you have bought if you personally have bought a Dell computer, or if you have purchased a Dell computer for your organization,
or
your
anything on
information
or
is
anything
not-
on Dell's
let me-
website.
Chris, let me give you just one perspective on this.
Sure.
I know you all probably have them, but I unfortunately got hit in the face with this because I was the purchasing agent for 2 organizations for the last 3 years, all Dell hardware, because it's not bad for what we use it for. And it used to be better than it is now. But bottom line is I've bought a lot of Dells. So I'm the guy who got hit in the face with this. Now, regardless of the fact that no serious data was compromised, like credit cards or Social Security, damn it, a breach is a breach is a breach. And for 49 million Dell customers, This is not taken lightly. So don't tell me, oh, this is not big deal stuff. Nothing big was compromised. No, it shows me that it could have been worse, and next time it might be. I'm sorry.
What it shows me, Larry, is as a vendor, they don't give a crap.
And I'm not ever buying for either of these two organizations. I'll never buy another Dell ever.
Sure.
And so it's not
Michael Dell, if you're listening, take that one.
And I would say it's not even about the breach itself. It's about the way that they reacted to it.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, this flew under the radar for a long time, and then the mainstream media picked it up finally.
Right. There's very, very few ways to prevent yourself from being a victim of a security breach.
You're right. You can't. I don't think
the best way. No. There is one sure way, and only
stay off of everything,
and that is don't be on the internet. Don't have a phone.
There you go.
Don't have a cell phone. Don't have a smartphone or a tablet. Don't have an email address. Don't have a computer. Nothing. Don't go into electronics at all.
Well, no, it's worse than that. It's worse than that, Chris. If you go out and you shop, don't use a credit card.
You're right.
Don't, and a bunch
of others. And I'll say this.
Write a check.
Even at a physical store, because all these stores have networks that connect back to things. They store pieces of data within limits. Well, within limits of PCI, of course.
Thank you. That's where that's what I'm referencing.
Yes. So payment card infrastructure is a very well established set of rules that the credit card companies all follow. MasterCard, Visa, American Express, all of them.
In fact, it's required.
And not only do the card providers have to follow it, anybody who supports transmission lines or equipment in the middle, they all have to support the standard.
It's not just the endpoints.
Right.
Not just the endpoints.
Anybody in that line of communication.
And that's why you see cases of applications using systems like, for example, Shopify and stuff like that, because that removes that responsibility from your store. Because Shopify handles that for you. Or, for example, in the case of systems similar to what I use every day, we use certain payment providers that we work with, like PayPal, ACI, which used to be official payments and stuff like that, where basically when it gets to the point where it needs that particular information, we don't even mess with it. We go over there, you enter that information over there, and then it comes back and tells our system that, hey, this person made their payment. So, I mean, that's why.
And that's all that you're waiting for. Payment failed or payment succeeded. That's it.
Exactly. And we don't store any of that data.
1 or 0. Right. And that's it.
But the point is breaches are breaches. It's a very important thing for us to bring them out, which is why we do. We certainly want to talk about them as
and it's very different too. Like we had this discussion when this came up last week. We were talking about this, where what I consider to be data I want to keep secure is going to be different than what Larry perceives. For example, I'm an amateur radio operator. My data is already out there. My address is out there. You can go look up my call sign, W3RAZ. You can see my home address because that is the law that the FCC has me follow.
Right.
Okay. There are ways that you can do that. Like, for example, if you look up somebody famous like Adam Curry, who is an amateur radio operator, you can probably not get his address, is my guess. Or like, for example, I don't know if he's still alive or he died, but Ronnie Millsap was also a amateur radio operator.
Yes, he was.
But the thing is a lot of these folks who do have those famous people do have amateur radio licenses. They might use a pen name or a name they go by so that they don't have to have their personal information on the FCC database. It also goes towards where 2A advocates are not a huge fan of registering their weapons because their data is out there. That's what they don't want to happen. They don't want the government to have that data, which makes entire sense to me. All right. But when it comes to that, like for example, I don't care if I purchased a laptop direct from Dell, which I haven't. I have had Dells. In fact, I got one sitting over here that I bought many years ago, but I didn't buy it there. I bought it at like Micro Center, or actually no, I think I bought that one at Best Buy. Don't ask me how I remember this garbage. I do.
Well, their buying system is really pleasurable. It is. I mean, it's so nice.
Right.
Their service is good.
But again, I would argue the breach isn't the major issue here.
No,
right.
I'm with you.
It's there. It's you're gonna get breached. You're gonna.
It all
be
goes back to
breach.
customer support. It all goes back to support,
Right?
And how they react and how they respond to their customers' concerns. You know, that's what it comes down to, and that's what's disappointing here. That's what's upsetting.
Right.
And
well,
they're not the only ones.
Like I said earlier, if you use a credit card, if you have a bank account, if you own any kind of electronics, all right, your information is out there, and your information is going to be traded to somebody. It's going to be purchased by somebody. It's going to be stolen by someone.
Yep.
Period.
And if you don't believe that, go on the dark web, look yourself up. I have. It's not a pretty story.
No, it's scary. It truly is scary. The point is
it
though,
goes
not
to
that
all
you're
that
going to be involved in a breach, or that
you are going to be.
So you will be.
No, it's not even that. You probably already have been.
Right. The issue here with Dell's breach is the way that they've handled the situation, the way that they've taken or not taken care of their customer base that were involved in the actual security breach, the information that was stolen. So, again,
and the moral of this story is if there's something that you do not want ever getting out about you, maybe a product preference or what political party you support, don't ever post it publicly. Don't ever post it on social media.
Right.
Just don't do it. I mean, you know, things that there's things that you can't help. You know, like Amazon has to have your address so that they know where
they can ship
to
something
send your
to you.
Right. You know, so but
you're just
your address is
that they're not going to sell it to somebody. Hopefully,
right. Well, the thing is their address is not your address. Technically, probably really isn't that secure data. A lot of people think it is, but it's not.
It's not.
You know, so I mean, but like I said, moral of the story: don't put it out there. And that's whether you're like, for example, if they have a survey attached to your purchase, you know, wanting to know like your thing, don't fill it out. Don't fill it out.
Otherwise, welcome to the 21st century, folks. Move on.
Yep.
Right. Exactly. Well, kids, okay, that is the end of our mobile Linux segment, and we'll be right back after this brief message. Hi. This is Christopher Spera with iTechGear.org, and I'm here to tell you that iTechGear.org and the iTechGear Weekly are on Patreon. Patreon is a platform for creators, allowing them to express their creative side in an organized, marketable fashion and earn a living or create a really cool kind of side hustle. You can create a community around your hobby of choice. You can gain followers. You can get members and supporters all along the way. You can create subscription products that for a pledged amount every month, you'll provide to your members and followers. Setup is easy. Prices are reasonable, and you can have your pledges auto-deposited into an account of your choice every month. With iTechGear.org, our initial offering is a monthly newsletter for just $3 a month. This is our initial offering, and we'll have other tiers and other products and other offers up in the coming months. Become a patron of our site. Grow with us, and we'll provide you with the tech understanding that you're missing right now. Join us on Patreon at www.patreon.com/iTechGear. That's www.patreon.com/iTechGear. And welcome back to the iTechGear Weekly, episode number 89, STFU TWSS. And I want to go ahead and I want to move us to our Windows segment. And there's two stories in this segment that I really want to go ahead and get to. This first one I thought was really very, very interesting given what happened and who it happened to. Microsoft closed Bethesda Studios. And for those that don't know, Bethesda Studios is the publisher of what is it? Fallout.
And a number of other big titles.
And a couple of other titles, right?
Big titles.
Hi-Fi Rush, Redfall.
Hi-Fi Rush, yep.
Mm-hmm.
Big stuff.
And they, I believe that they were also involved. They were also involved in the Fallout TV show because it's their basic, it's their IP that the show.
Their
is
property, right?
Yeah,
and they've obviously fallen out.
So, what's going on with this, guys? I mean, I don't get this.
It's odd. It's odd, especially after all that Microsoft went through to be collecting game studios, and fighting with the EU about the legality of it and the monopoly practices, and fighting Sony and all that they've gone through to get there. This is a successful software house. This is not one that's been failing, as far as I know.
Right.
So it's interesting to see that they've chosen to shut this particular one down. It's like, really?
Yep. Unless you count some of the recent, like Fallout 76 didn't really go off like they wanted it to. But that I didn't see. I have watched like the first episode of the Fallout TV series. And I want to say, for one thing, thank God it's only 10 episodes. It's really good, but they're really long.
Okay.
But this is all about but you raise a good point, Joel, in the sense that it's not just about the games and the success of the games. Correct. It's IP. They own the IP. So what is making them now? Maybe unless they're merging it into something else, and I haven't seen anything like that.
Maybe they're just gonna say the new Fallout by Microsoft instead of by Bethesda Studios.
Possibly.
Who knows?
According to some information that was released by the CEO, all right, as reported by IGN, the CEO wrote in a company-wide email, "These changes are not a reflection of the creativity and skill of the talented individuals at these teams or the risks they took to try new things."
And they did.
Right.
They did. There's some unique things in the products.
He added, "I acknowledge that these changes are also disruptive to the various support teams across ZeniMax and Bethesda."
Maybe that's the reason right there,
market.
Chris.
Right.
Maybe that's the reason.
Yeah. "We are making these tough decisions to create capacity to increase investment in other parts of our portfolio and focus on our priority games."
AI.
All right.
Uh-huh.
So, yeah. Arcane's most recent Redfall update will be the final one, with development now closing, while plans for an offline mode are seemingly now axed, although servers will remain online. Don't know how long they're going to remain.
Yeah, with any of this stuff,
that's a big problem,
Exactly.
That game is going to be, and it's the same thing. It's the same thing like that happened with Unreal Tournament. The original Unreal Tournament is gone. You cannot play that game anymore. Even if it's in your Xbox library, you cannot play the original Unreal Tournament anymore because the servers are gone. So,
and I've talked about this on my other show. That's what increasingly happening with games. That's going to be the worry about this.
Again, guys, the cloud is not always the best. I'm sorry, it's just not.
It's just somebody else's computer, and B, what the heck? The cloud for Unreal Tournament and now Redfall and the other games have evaporated.
Yep. I want
somebody else's computer, and sometimes that somebody else wants to turn off the computer.
There you go.
Yep. Because it costs them money to keep it going, and they're not making money on the game anymore. Unless you have a subscription, you're not making money. So
true.
It is what it is, guys.
Well, yeah. Well, didn't Microsoft move away from sales of Office, even though they do sell standalone versions?
Of course, they went to a subscription model and service.
They want you to be. They want your Xbox to. They don't want you to own media for it. All of the consoles are starting to do that.
Yeah, I was gonna say Sony's done it. Microsoft's done it with the Xbox. I mean, Nintendo's trying to do it, but Nintendo is actually a little more tied to cartridge-based stuff or local storage of stuff than some of the others are. Just historically,
1980s, 1990s.
But historically speaking, but remember though, the reason for that probably is that Nintendo's primarily a portable unit these days. So it can be either, but it's really a portable unit. So that's why the notion of take it with you. You don't always know where you're going to be.
Right.
So
that's one of the reasons why the Steam Deck is becoming so very, very popular, and there are so many other folks that are trying to develop and release a similar kind of animal so that you can take it with you. You're not stuck to that console back at home.
Well, again, but the difference is in the Nintendo model, your game is local. Whereas in the Steam model, you're kind of get it from the cloud more than not. So, so that's a different model and a different approach to the game. So again, it assumes the cloud is ubiquitous, and it's not. So whereas with a Nintendo, hey, you don't have to buy net access for your kids if you don't want to. You're out camping in the woods, you can still play the dang thing. That's why it's a different model.
Right, because you can go ahead and plug the cartridge into the TV set, and then plug that all into the portable generator that you've got.
Or the game is stored locally on the SD card in your device. Either way. So it's different approach, different spin. But this makes me very nervous in general. I think there's another shoe to fall in this thing. I don't know what this is going to look like yet, but and again, most people are going to go, well, it's just a game studio. What do we care? This is a big game studio, and there doesn't seem to be a big reason why this is happening. So,
no, there were no telegraphs to this at all.
We need to kind of watch this, because this might speak more about the industry at a large. So let's see where this goes.
Right. Finally, Arcane said that in a statement to everyone that has supported the work from our Austin studio over the years. Thank you. Thank you for spending time in our worlds and making them your own. Arcane Lion will continue to focus their immersive experiences where they are hard to work on for their hard at work on their upcoming projects. So there you go.
There you go.
But we'll see what happens. I mean, the last thing that I want to go over in our Windows segment is really the Windows ads thing. And I know we've gone over this one or more times. I know we've talked about it in email and during different pre-shows, and it's getting to be really intrusive.
Well, there's a reason why we do that.
Well,
yeah, it's because it's really getting intrusive.
No, because we care about our listeners. That's what we're
saying. We like
we don't want you to have ads.
Yeah.
This is this is really kind of this is really kind of getting to be ridiculous. There are ads in the start menu.
Yeah.
There are ads it's bad enough. It's bad enough.
Ads in the settings menu, for heaven's sakes.
Right. Yes. Right. I mean, it's bad enough that there are ads on a web page, and that there's more ads on a web page than there is actually content for you to view the ads for.
Don't take me there, because I'm so upset. I mean, you can't read 3 lines on any one of our favorite sites anymore without a 3-inch ad hitting you. Every one of those inline ads.
And if you're on a laptop, it takes up the majority of your freaking screen.
And not only that, you think the article is ended.
Yeah, you think it's ended.
And then they got the rescroll thing going where it'll pop you back up to the ad, and it's awful.
It's getting to be absolutely ridiculous. All right, it's getting to be absolutely horrible. These ads, like you said, they're appearing in the settings menu. They're on the start menu. In some cases, they're appearing directly on the desktop. It is
definitely pop up in the notifications. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's getting to the point where I can't get any work done without having to get rid of the freaking ads that are, literally blinking in front of my face so that I can sit there and think and concentrate on the work that I've got to do. It's
I
getting
think this is going to bite them. I really do eventually, somehow.
Oh, I'm certain it's going to bite them in the butt. I mean, let's face it, kids. I mean, there's a reason why. I mean, Microsoft is the one operating system that if you had to say, is there something around here that's ubiquitous? They are the operating system that runs the businesses of most of the world. Most of the businesses in the world. All right.
I'm getting where I open my Windows machine maybe once every 2 days now. That's it.
Well, you, I think, are a odd man out on that. All right, if you don't mind me saying so.
Oh, I probably am, but I'm just upset because I have another way to get my content.
This is what I'm saying.
People don't.
You have another way of getting at it.
They have to use Windows.
No, you don't.
No, but they think they do.
Right. But there are a lot of folks that say, hey, I paid hundreds of dollars for this computer. I need to use this computer. I have to justify the expense. And it's just getting to be bad. The one thing that I want to point out here is that there is a new tool that is out there. And it's interesting enough. It's by a Linux developer of all people.
Which is where you ought to go if you don't want the ads.
Has developed an application that will allow Windows users to remove ads from Windows 11.
How long will it take for Microsoft to shut that down?
I do not know. But I will tell you.
Interesting thing, though, it's available on GitHub, which of course is a Microsoft
based asset. Yes,
there's other places to get it,
but that's the primary page. That's the primary site that they're developing out of. I will say two things. One is that yes, they have this out. It is not ARM based. So if you have an ARM based Windows box, you can run it, but it's going to be an Intel app. The other thing I'll point out is that it requires that you have .NET version 8 on your computer, right, which is a pretty big thing. If you don't have it, odds are good you might have it because there are other things that require it out there. If you don't have it, it's a pretty big size download, and you may not want all that extra on your machine. But so keep in mind, there are some things to be thought about here. I suspect sooner or later, especially since this was a Linux developer, I would not be surprised to eventually see an ARM version, especially as ARM machines become popular later this year, become more available anyway later this year. We'll see how that goes. But the point I'm getting at is that there are some limitations, but this thing will basically do it if you're willing to take it on.
The name of this tool is interesting. It's called Oh Frick Go Back, or OFGB. All
OFGB.
Right. And like the name suggests, it lets you disable ads in Windows 11, and all the UI is really kind of neat. You run the tool, it displays a little dialog box that allows you to check a number of different boxes. Disable ads here, there, over here, the other place, here, there, and everywhere, right? And that's it. And the ads are supposed to go away. All right.
Now, at least until Larry says they figure a way around.
I was just going to say until Microsoft figures out a different way of delivering ads on the platform, in which case I would say you're probably going to see OFGB Rev. All right. And release a new version that will cover that other particular method of producing ads up until the point they completely shut this kid out. But at least for now, if you are interested, all right, the guy or the person that develops this, they go by the handle of XM4DDY or Maddie. All right,
Maddie. It's a her, by the way.
Okay, thank you. Anyway, long story short, there are links in the Windows Central ad that allow you to get to this person's GitHub site where you can download a executable that will allow you to run the application on your machine. If you are interested, run, don't walk, to this place and get yourself a copy of this before Microsoft turns it all off. Anyway,
And hopefully they won't. But you know what? I think the point is this nonsense has to stop. And I think we're going to keep beating the drum on it, and we'll keep pointing out these kinds of workarounds. I think
right.
as they become available, because this is not the right approach. Microsoft, if you're listening to us or anybody else for that matter, this is the wrong approach, and lots of people are saying that. We understand what you're trying to do with services. This is the wrong approach.
Take your freaking ads and get them the hell off of my computer.
Thank you. Because I paid you for it.
Yep.
I paid for the hardware. I paid for the software. You already have my freaking money. Get your freaking ads off my computer, or I swear, I promise you, I won't buy your crap anymore.
Well, I'm right there with you. I've about had it.
This really really grinds my gears. It really, really does.
Tell us what you really think.
Hold on. Here I go.
Does it really bother you, Chris?
Let me tell you what, kids.
Hold me back. Hold me back. Here I
No, I mean it. Hold me back. Hold me back.
Yeah, really. Oh my goodness.
This is completely unreasonable. This is completely unreasonable. I've already paid you for the hardware. I paid you for the hardware. All right. Whether especially if it's a Surface device, I've paid you for the hardware. Right. I paid you for the Windows license. Get it off of my desktop. Period. All right. And Lenovo, Dell, Asus, HP, whomever else is developing Windows PCs, if you allow this, there's a reason why I can go. There are a number of different alternatives that are out there. Users are going to get pissed off and they're going to move.
That's what I'm thinking.
All right. They are not going to put up with this mess. I do not need a flashing. It's bad enough I got flashing billboards while I'm driving. I got billboards that are literally flashing because they're big giant computer screens, and they cycle ads. Bad enough that I've got those on the freeway where I and other cars are driving 70 plus miles an hour. Bad enough that they're there. I don't need these in my home. Not on my computer screen.
Well, you actually already got them when you buy these home products. So, that's a different side thing, but it's all going to be part of the same.
Chris, STFU.
Yeah.
Anyway, somebody take the soapbox away from me. I tripped over it a little while ago.
I see a breaking your kneecaps on it. Yeah. There you go.
Yeah. Thank you. So I want to go ahead and I want to move us to our tip of the week segment. And I want to remind everyone that our tips are something that, we at iTechGear, the site was founded on the intent of making technology easier for everyone to understand and easier for everyone to use. All right. This team specifically has dedicated their writing to careers to that specific purpose. All right. And as such, every week, we are going to be bringing a computing tip authored by one of the experienced authors here at iTechGear.org.
That means old.
Yeah,
that's right.
Very true.
So if you've got questions or ideas or whatever, you can go ahead and send your suggestions over to tips@iTechGear.org, and we will be happy to receive them.
Yeah, send us your DOS questions. We'll even answer those.
We can. And yes, we can. Sad but true.
Sad but true.
So this week, we've got, if you are an Apple user and you happen to have an Apple Watch, it is probably one of the best iPhone accessories that you've likely never used. And what do you mean by that, Chris? I'm talking about the ability of your Apple iWatch to control your iPhone camera. All right. Now, interestingly enough, I mean, it's cool enough that, you know, you're a smartwatch and um a smartphone can actually go together and work together. All right. Apple really has this thing sort of narrowed down. They've really got this thing, and it's really simple and seamless. All right. Um, the Apple Watch activates a 3-second timer so that you can go ahead and um, set everything up, get you know, sort of stick your phone on some sort of a tripod or something. Go ahead, frame it, get it all together, hit the button, or run over now to join the family who's all in this shot. Tap your watch. 1, 2, 3, cheese. That in and of itself, especially if you don't have anybody around that you can go ahead and ask to take the freaking picture for you, this is pretty cool. All
Actually,
right?
I tried this today.
Did you?
Did you?
How did it
I
work
did.
out
And
for you?
you know
Larry?
where it really is effective?
Where?
If you're going to do a group shot, Chris, you
Where?
you have time. You can look at your watch. You can say, "Hey, George, move in a little bit from the right." You get everybody lined up, kind of better than you
The
can
live
just
view.
by guessing.
There's a live view that
Yeah, that's
displays a
right.
live action view that you can view on your watch for what is being seen by the camera.
It's really
That's cool.
cool.
That's cool. All right. You can, like you said, you can go ahead and set up your own, frame your own shots. You can go ahead and then make sure that everybody is there, you know, exactly where you need them to be. Take the shot. No problems. This is really, really cool.
Yeah, I'll
If you
take a
haven't done
shot.
this, if you haven't done this, you really need to take a look
Right.
at it. All right. There are other watches that may do this that are out there, but they aren't going to do this as well as your iPhone and your Apple Watch.
Yep.
So
There's little tips like this that are great. Like you know, you made a. Well, the thing is you have to have a tripod in order to avoid some of the things,
Oh,
like
you
for
set it on
example over
top
the
of the
weekend
fireplace. It'll work.
or something like that. Yeah, I
you've
mean,
got,
yeah,
but you've
because
got to prop the phone up on something.
You
right?
do.
well,
You do.
it all depends on where you have the picture taken. Like when I went to Deer Creek State Park to do a hike, and I went to the lodge because I wanted to use the restroom. And as I was heading in there, there was a family there for Mother's Day that wanted me to take a picture of them with their phone. It's like, well, first off, let me tell you, I never hand a camera or phone or anything I own to some
To a person that
stranger
you
that
don't
I
know,
just saw walking. Yeah,
to a person
so
that you
this
don't
would
know.
be a good right. Yeah, so it's like I understand you want to be in the picture, but you know, well, you know, but you know, whatever, you
But
know.
people do.
Yeah, your device. Your device. I mean, apparently they never seen National Lampoon's European Vacation where they took the camera that Clark
Sure,
filmed
that you
his
go ahead.
wife.
No, closer. Okay, everybody, hold it, and then the guy runs.
Yeah,
That's right.
that's it.
So this could help prevent that if you have a tripod or someplace to prop the phone.
Yep, prop the camera, right. So, and the fact that you can go ahead then and tap the button, put your hands where you want your hands to be,
Or use the crown to zoom in and zoom out.
right. And then put your hands where you want to be and have everybody have the shot look the way that you want it to, and then the picture takes, right? So, and having that live view on your watch so that you can zoom in, zoom out, have people move in, move out, or whatever it is, and set the shot right.
Do the hokey pokey.
And then take it. Initiate the shutter snap from your watch while you're away from the physically away from the phone is kind of cool. So, if you have a iPhone and you have an Apple Watch, you've got a remote camera button and app that you didn't know about. Here's something for you to go have some fun with, kids. Go forth and take pictures.
There you go.
There you go. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to move us to our pick of the week segment. And I just want to take a moment and remind everyone that our picks of the week are typically hardware, software, and other items of interest that we have individually purchased and actually used, and we like enough that we want to recommend them to you, our growing listener base. These are not paid advertisements or items that we have any kind of affiliated marketing relationship with. If they were, the editorial policy over at iTechGear.org indicates that we have to let you guys know that up front before we tell you what the pick is. Honestly, these are just things that we sincerely believe in, and we want to bring to you at the end of each show. Why?
Because
we like you.
There you go, kids. So, one of the things that I had purchased not too long ago, and I'm wearing quite a lot, is the OnePlus Watch 2. We do have a unboxing and a brief review of that particular watch, but one of the things that I have bumped into with this is that it comes with a silicone-based band, and yuck. And there's a specific reason for this. I've got psoriasis, kids. All right, and so the silicone does not react very well with my skin. It makes the itching worse. When you sweat, it makes the itching worse. So me and silicone, not so much. I really prefer a metal band, and finding one that actually fits and works with the Watch 2 has been a bit of a challenge. Why? Well, simply because it's a 22 millimeter band, and you don't necessarily know if the 22 millimeter band that you're looking at, even though it is effectively, that kind of band that works with Android-based watches, will work with your watch. This one actually should. It is the Citizen CZ 22 millimeter smartwatch interchangeable strap. And there are 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18 different bands that fall into this particular category that's available at the link in the show notes. And they run anywhere between $40 to $55, including the Milanese mesh bracelet, a silver bracelet, and a matte black bracelet, which I thought was pretty cool. It does come with a butterfly strap, and it is a nice what we'll call a nice I don't know if they're stainless steel. They are stainless steel. All right, the stainless steel either silver, black, or mesh, and it is. I'm telling you, for $40 to $55, these are not too bad. And I wouldn't necessarily suggest something, because there are a lot of bands out there, and they usually cost anywhere between, say, $5 to $25. But if you're looking for something that specifically works with this, and it looks as good as the watch does, this is not a bad. And it's 22 millimeters. This is the band to go with. This is really actually pretty nice. So there you go.
Well, there you go.
There you go. So this, my friends, has been the iTechGear Weekly, episode number 89, STFU TWSS, recorded live Monday, May 13th, 2024, live from iTechGear Central for Dr. Mr. Larry McJunkin, Mr. Chris Gavula, and Brother Joe McLaughlin. I want to say we will see you next time.